Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. We are covering the AP Top 25 that just dropped literally 30 seconds ago. I'm right on it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more college football videos. Looking at the others receiving votes, you see Kansas unfortunately ends up dropping out of that top 25. Iowa here sneaks into that close territory with the blowout victory against Rutgers, a game which they absolutely suffocated that Rutgers offense. Iowa is looking fantastic right now defensively. They just have to clean up some things offensively. That is not a surprise to any of us here. That has been a common theme. Liberty gets another victory here. They move on to 10-0. Now we're going to kind of jump into some of the more interesting games here that happened. Oklahoma State gets a big demotion here. I mean, they dropped 9 spots. They got demolished by UCF. They could not contain UCF on the ground. It was an impressive day for them. Oklahoma State just didn't have it today. I just think that when you look at Oklahoma State and what they've built so far, there is a lot of reason for optimism for what Mike Gundy had done. But, a big regressionary week. They fall all the way to 24, 9 spots, one of the biggest droppers of the entire week. K-State gets the nice victory over Baylor. They were absolutely dialed in this one offensively. They put up some huge numbers, so they're 23. 22 is North Carolina, the double overtime victory against Duke. This is a team that's resilient. They play really nice in close games. They have a great game plan week in, week out offensively. Drake May is a terrific NFL prospect and has almost solidified himself as a top 5 player in this upcoming draft. Therefore, we continue to see it week in, week out, and they narrowly beat Duke. 21 is Tennessee. And when you look at Tennessee, it's been disappointing for them so far this year. They had lost a lot of guys in the NFL. I have regurgitated and said that over and over again, and they fall here 7 spots. A team that was super hyped up going into the year and has had some disappointing losses, especially against ranked opponents. Notre Dame, again, has been one of those teams that has not moved a ton in the AP. They haven't been up and down as much as, we had thought they might be, but they are, remain here at number 20. Bumping into that top 20 here. 2 big teams that I do want to talk about that don't get mentioned enough by the national media. Arizona picks up the victory against Colorado. They get some critical stops when needed, and they've narrowly edged out the Buffs, on the road. James Madison keeps rolling, man. We have to continue to watch for this team here. I think this could be a team that eventually seeks itself near that top 10 level with how they've been playing. There's not a lot of time to do so, but they've proven themselves right. They've proven the voters last week who had put them in the top 25 right, and they continue to keep rolling here. Tulane with a narrow victory against a Tulsa team that's not very good, but once again, a team that knows how to win some close games. Following that up here is Utah suffers a 1 touchdown loss to Washington on the road. Now, you got to tip your cap to Utah with some of the injuries that they've had so far this season. They have actually been pretty impressive. Number 15 here is LSU. Get 3 jumps up here to that spot. They were impressive, especially in that second half against Florida. Jaden Daniels was phenomenal. He was fantastic on the air, through the ground. He can do it all. Should be one of the Heisman, finalists here when it's all said and done, which he currently is. But he is incredible. The former Arizona State transfer has proven exactly why Brian Kelly made a genius decision to bring him to Baton Rouge. And you look at this as a powerhouse offense that has some gaping holes defensively, but they dropped 52 on Florida. Following into that top 15, Oklahoma is one of those big storylines of the week. They put up nearly 60 points against West Virginia. Dylan Gabriel was absolutely awesome in that one. It's pretty incredible to see the turnaround here after the last couple of weeks. Gabriel had 423 yards, 5 touchdowns. The Sooners keep on moving. 13, Ole Miss drops 1 to Georgia. They only suffer a 3-spot drop considering Georgia is so good. And, we will get a little bit more into that one, but they definitely had their struggles moving the ball, moving the chains. Junkins was good, but when it comes to Jackson Dart, he had to make a couple more plays to make it a little more competitive. They just weren't able to do it against this Georgia defense, which threw a ton of different looks at them. Penn State suffers a loss, 9-point loss here to Michigan without Jim Harbaugh, excuse me. Now, I think when you look at Penn State, they struggle against teams in that top 5 under James Franklin. It's been noted heavily throughout the course of his career, but they drop a close one. Drew Aller, I think in totality had 71 yards in that one. Moving on here to Missouri. Missouri, one of the big storylines here was the running game for them. I was impressed. I was really, really impressed on what they were able to do. But all things considered, this is a good football team. This is a Missouri team that we have not seen be this competitive since the Blaine Gabbert era. This is a new horizon for them, and they have been ultra tough even against some of these SEC opponents. And we're going to move up here a little bit further in that top 10. We have Oregon State. Shout out the Beavs. They are a top 10 in the AP top 25, 62-17 victory against a really, really poor Stanford Cardinal team. But Oregon State has just been humming offensively. Moving further into it, Louisville picks up that Thursday night victory against Virginia. They had pretty good control of this one, and Louisville finds themselves to be a top 10 team. A couple of teams that we're not generally accustomed to seeing in this range: Missouri, Oregon State, and Louisville. Now, in that top 8 here, we have Alabama picking up the victory against Kentucky. Not entirely shocked that there's no movement here. Milroe was good in this one, but they're number 8, followed by number 7, Texas. Texas picks up the close victory against TCU. They've had a couple of nail biters. I wouldn't have been surprised if the committee had maybe done a little bit of a flip-flop here from 8-7 for Bama, but I'm not entirely disappointed by the result here, yielding that they're both one-loss schools. Number 6, we have Oregon. Oregon was phenomenal offensively. Again, Dan Lanning has put together a really, really great offensive juggernaut for this team. Bo Nix, 412 yards, 4 touchdowns through the air. This guy is legit. Number 5, we got Washington, picks up the critical win in a Pac-12 matchup that they had to do. They had to have it 100%. Number 4 here, jumping into it a little bit further, Florida State picks up the win against the interstate rival Miami Hurricanes, 7-point victory. Miami was competitive in this one. Jacoby George, 145 yards receiving. They tried to keep as close as they could, but eventually Florida State pulls away with the narrow victory there. Number 3, we have Ohio State. Huge win against Michigan State. Very impressed by this. Very, very impressed. Cal McCord was absolutely on one. Marvin Harrison Jr., they weren't turning over the football. They were dominant through, in and out, as to be expected against the Michigan State team that continues to reel during this coaching transition. Number 2 is Michigan. Without Harbaugh, they were still able to get that job done against Penn State. Blake Corum was terrific in this one. He was, he accounted for 145 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Michigan continues to run the football effectively, and they stay committed to the run. This is a legitimate program, and they are deserving that number 2 spot. And then number 1, you have Georgia. They absolutely beat up on a really good Ole Miss team. Ole Miss, they try to keep it competitive in the first half. They were right there. Second half, Georgia just absolutely pulled away. Carson Beck was super impressive in this one. McConkey as well. They get the job done through the air. They're able to run the football effectively with their 2-headed monster that they have in the backfield. So I'm impressed with Georgia. Once again, everything stays pat here. This has been the same case for the last couple of weeks. So there you have it. That is the AP Top 25. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss out on any more college football content. We'll catch you in the very next Utility Sports Plus video.